Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Fantasy Football Consistency Show. As always, that's James Knight. I'm Bob Lung, Big Guy Fantasy Sports. We're here to talk about Week 8 in review and Week 9 coming up this week. It starts tonight, Thursday night. So you know it's going to be a good one. Baltimore, Miami, and we are going to come up next with all of the consistency data right here. Thursday night, Week 9 coming upon us tonight. Baltimore, Miami. James Knight's here with me as always as we kind of review where we think is from a consistency standpoint by position. And then we'll talk about some players moving right way, wrong way. Some of those probably in James's under the radar, I'm sure. So James, welcome as always to the show. Tell us some of your sneak peeks at the under the radar, maybe some players we're going to talk about tonight, right?
Yeah, there's definitely a couple players on here that I'm looking at that I've been eyeballing. Surprisingly enough, QB that I looked at on here was Aaron Rodgers in my under the radar, which is weird for me because it's Aaron Rodgers, multiple MVP. But don't know if we'll talk about him. Don't know if we'll talk about a few players. But I think we've got some stuff up our sleeve that's going to help a lot of people out this coming up week and moving forward in the season.
Yeah, Week 9. I mean, it's coming up fast. Of course, we all got through by McGidden with maybe you had some guys you slipped in there, Xavier Hutchinson, Tyler Johnson. I was trying to think of all the guys. I had a hell of a 1 week wonder decision at wide receiver. Man, there was a ton of them because of the buys. But hopefully you survived Week 8 in the by McGidden. And this week, hey, it's only 4, but still a pretty substantial 4 if I remember right. Who we got here? We got Cleveland, maybe is not as much. The Jets, Breece Hall. Philadelphia. I knew there was one in Tampa Bay. So Philly, Tampa Bay. So all you Saquon, Baker, Mayfields. Yeah, that's me. Got them all. So hurting a little bit this week with some of them. My one team in the Kings Classic. So hopefully we'll sneak some players in there to fill the void and move on this week. So, all right, let's take a look at the quarterback position. We do have 100%er still left, but it's Brock Purdy at 2-2, so it kind of doesn't count. So there is no perfects beyond him. But at 88%, we have Patrick Mahomes first in total points, Jalen Hurts 88% third in total points. So those of you who drafted those twos, congratulations, you're doing well. Some surprises then at the 75% spot. Wow, the biggest surprise, Drake May. I mean, I think a lot of us like Drake May, but I think we were expecting top 5. He's second in total points, 75% consistent, put up 3 straight, and 6 out of his last 7. Baker Mayfield had a bye, so had a bye. No, he did not have a bye.
He's on bye this week.
He's on a bye this week, yeah. So, interestingly enough, I traded for Baker Mayfield after Week 6. He has gotten 0 for 2 consistency since I traded for him. Now, I traded Jayden Daniels, who hasn't played at all. So, but I'm not sure what's worse. Like, I don't know if I'd rather have the guy hurt and I put in somebody that has a chance or watch Baker Mayfield stink for 2 weeks in a row when he had been 6 for 6. So, maybe I'm a black cat for Mr. Mayfield. I hope not. I hope he gets his act back together as we move forward with this week or after this week to buy. So give him that time to rest, maybe rejuvenate him for the rest of my season. Lamar Jackson, 75% coming back this week. He'll be playing tonight. Josh Allen, 8th in total points, only 71% consistent, which is interesting knowing that Josh Allen is usually top 5 and usually closer to 80 or 90, which I'm sure he'll get there. Jackson Dart, also 71% consistent, but mostly because most of his points have come over the last 5 weeks. So 5-7 is pretty impressive, and I think he really is 5 for 5 from a starting perspective. Justin Herbert and Daniel Jones, Dak Prescott, 63%. Jayden Daniels, who's only played 5 games, 60%. After that, everybody below 60%, which is not where we want our quarterbacks. And there are too many guys that are probably on your starting lineup that are there. Matthew Stafford, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Jake Browning, not Jake Browning. We know Jake Browning shouldn't be there. Jordan Love, Stroud, Kyler Murray, which I heard today, they're not sure if he's going to play this week. They have not announced the starting quarterback in Arizona. Now, it is a Monday night game, but that doesn't give us a lot of hope if you're a Marvin Harrison fan or owner. So lots of stuff there. So, James, your thoughts on the quarterback position, where things are currently? Clutch factor is 19.92, so basically 20 points, which is about where we normally are. So that's not terrible. But once again, just like the past couple of years, not a lot of consistency. When you realize there's only, not counting Brock Purdy, but there's only really 7 quarterbacks above 70%, actually above 65% consistent.
Yeah.
It's not good. And some of those are players that, were drafted high, some were not. So your thoughts?
You hit the nail on the head. You're looking at this 7 players that basically are worth starting, and you're going to get something good out of them every week. And that's kind of scary. It used to be your top 12. If you had a QB1, you were pretty solid. You got all the way down to 12, 13, 14. There was a little jumble there, but each of those guys was probably around 70-ish%, give or take. So, yeah, unless you drafted Mahomes, like I said, and bought back in on him, Jalen Hurts, obviously, which a lot of people were kind of hit or miss with. Guys have missed time. Guys have done stuff. Looking at some of these guys, I think one of my biggest surprises is it not just himself, but the actual team, the Indianapolis Colts with Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
You look at him in 3 straight games now, clutch games that he's come up with. He's at 63%, but he's got all the makings of continuing that. He looks comfortable in the system. He's getting actually better as the season seems to wear on. And he's got Jonathan Taylor, who is just destroying people. So, we all knew they had talent at wide receiver with Pittman, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, those guys. And they seem to have hit
Tyler Warren now.
Tyler Warren as a tight end is a huge too. So, I didn't think we would get to the point in week 9 where we're talking about the Colts as possibly one of the top teams, if not the top
number
team.
one seed in the AFC.
Yeah, number 1 seed, 7-1 loss. So,
yes.
And like I said, he's riding 3 straight games here. We know he's got legs too. He can run, and that gives him an excellent cheat code kind of floor. I think he's going to keep moving up, and it surprises me to see him there because I think so many people had sold him off from New York. But hey, he's more power to him. Indiana Jones is doing his thing.
Indiana Jones, hell yeah.
Yeah.
The one I want to talk about though is somebody that is sitting out there 6th in total points. There was a lot of hype for him coming into the season. I think you're a fan because I think you're a Broncos fan, and that is Bo Nix. I love Bo Nix because Bo Nix took me to the playoffs in a few leagues last year when I had some injuries. But his consistency right now is only 50%. In fact, without the last 2 weeks being back-to-back clutch games, he was 2 for 6 heading into those 2 weeks. So granted, put up some massive numbers the past 2 weeks. Of course, big game against the Giants and Cowboys last week. We'll see if that continues. Denver is at Houston. So tougher defense. So we'll see how that goes. It's at Houston. So not in Mile High, which should help. But we'll see. Keep an eye. If you have Bo Nix and your team is 500, there's a good reason why. So keep an eye on him. See how he does against Houston. If he doesn't do well, this may be a time to maybe sell off or try to sell off and get out of that roller coaster. Because that roller coaster may get you to the playoffs, but it may not. And key is getting there. So maybe trade for a Daniel Jones, probably not at this point, or somebody that might be coming along that has been doing well the last couple of weeks, or maybe Bo Nix is finally clicking now. Offense is clicking. Troy Franklin's more involved. Marvin Mims, those kind of players. So we'll see how it all plays out. So. All right, we move on to the running back position. Clutch factor 10.03, pretty normal. As you mentioned, the man, the legend at this point. I was surprised that Christian McCaffrey was as close to him as he was in total points. He's only 19 behind, almost 20 behind.
Yeah.
but then if you go to third place, it drops another 40 points. So McCaffrey and now McCaffrey's not 100% consistent. He did have last week's stinker, which was devastating for us McCaffrey fans, for 9.8 points, which actually was like 0.05 or something, or no, 0.25 away from earning a clutch game. But yeah, he didn't. But it wasn't like he got two, but it still hurt. But yeah, Jonathan Taylor just run away with it. So he's 100%. Devon Achane is still 100%. Josh Jacobs is still 100%, 7 for 7. Bucky Irving, 4 for 4. 88%, 80, and so let's just do 88, 86. I'll just name them off. McCaffrey, Javonte Williams, Scadaboo, who's done, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, DeAndre Swift, and Kyron Williams. All at 86 to 88%. Then there's a few at 70, 75, and then it drops off from there. So a lot of players, top players that we were hoping to count on, not pulling their weight. Yes, I'm looking at you, Mr. Barkley, so rest up. I need you to get it together when you come back here for the second half of the season. I had a great game, and then looked like he was hurt, but he said it wasn't that big a deal, so let's hope not. But yeah, I was scared. Luckily, I do have Tank Bixby as a backup on a lot of teams that he's on. But again, a lot of running backs that are way down numbers-wise. Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Alvin Kamara, David Montgomery's been real disappointing. He used to be Mr. Consistency. He was always wide receiver, running back 2, points-wise. Didn't have a problem with that, but he scored touchdowns. He's not getting the touchdowns. More because of the fact that freaking Jahmyr Gibbs is scoring them from 78 yards out. So, they're not getting a lot of 1-yard runs and 5-yard runs. That was Montgomery's strong point. So that's been hurting, But again, a lot of players down the stretch a little bit. So your thoughts on the running back positions, players you like, dislike, moving forward? Who do you got?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that thing on the running backs too. Looking at this and looking at the clutch factor that it's fallen down to like right at 10 points. And it's so top heavy with McCaffrey and Taylor. Christian McCaffrey is 8th in the NFL in receiving yards this year. So, you're talking about a running back who the 49ers haven't really been successful running the ball, but he's about to crack 200 points and only less than 20 points away from Taylor, who just seems to be running away with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But,
scoring 3 touchdowns a week.
Yeah, and it like easy. It seems like it's just coming easy to him. He looks healthy again. He's doing all kinds of stuff. It reminds me of what we saw Barkley do last year with the Eagles when he got changed teams, and all of a sudden it was just a whole new thing. They gave Taylor a new quarterback and a new bill of health, and he's like, yeah, I'm a monster out here. So, a couple of things that I look at, and it's one of the guys I did actually have him under the radar article for this week, is Woody Marks from Houston, and he's got a tough matchup this week with Denver. But he has 3 of his last 4 games consistent. 2 of those have come since the bye for Woody. Mm-hmm. And I think more and more we're seeing him basically phase out Nick Chubb, where Nick Chubb's just a little bit older. They're not really giving him as much run. And we have no idea what kind of black hole Joe Mixon fell down. I have no idea what's going on with Joe Mixon.
I'm not sure he's alive.
I was going to say he may never even play again. We may never even see that again. So, but yeah, Mark's in his last 4 games, 3 of those games, he's had 10-plus carries, and he's available in 31% of leagues. Like I said, with a clutch ratio right now where he's doing that, he's hit 3 of his last 4 games. It's the only 3 games he's hit this year, but we're seeing that rookie playing time start to ramp up for him. Mm-hmm. And the Texans offense seems to be scoring some points, playing a little better. They'll probably have more of a defensive matchup this week with Denver. But I think if you're in a PPR league, you're looking at really, really much better days ahead for Woody Marks.
That is absolutely for sure. All right. A lot of guys that I have highlighted too. The one I wanted to kind of talk about was Jaylen Warren, who's come back from injury, looked great in the first game, and then the last game did not look good. Mm-hmm. Definitely it's not Kenneth Gainwell taking over, but certainly has not been putting up the fantasy points that he was earlier in the year, went 3 straight beginning of the year. Gainwell's in there, but not doing much of anything. So we'll see if they can kind of move along. I mean, Pittsburgh this week is going against Indy, who is not a very good defense. So but that's just been because freaking Jonathan Taylor scores 70-yard runs, and now you're down 7. Then he scores another one, and you're down 14. So next thing you know, you got to either throw the ball, So we'll see. This game, I was going to look at. I always this kind of year start looking at the weather, and I'm pretty sure this is in Pittsburgh. Yeah. So 50% chance of rain, 55 degrees. Yeah. But that's a good running day, rather, right? So we hope to see Warren get back in the swing of things. No, Taylor will. So a lot of rain expected, a lot of games this weekend. In fact, I think I counted the other day for the Monday night show, and it was like of the actual outdoor games on Sunday, there was only like one that didn't have a chance of rain. Actually, 2 now because Washington now doesn't have rain. So yeah, I guess on just Sunday, there was none. All of them have rain expected from 10% to 65%, which is the Buffalo Kansas City game.
Oh,
so if you are looking to make prop bets, if you're looking to, your fantasy players, be careful. Buffalo weather can be just a lot of fun. Now it is.
Yeah,
it's only 46 degrees, so it's warm enough, but that's also coming off the lake, windy. That's not supposed to be too windy, but 65% of rain means it's going to rain, kids, and so that makes it tough. But we'll see. There should be a lot of running. So Rashard Smith, James Cooks, Kareem Hunt certainly has more potential. Maybe see more from Kelsey, short passes. So we'll see. But just want to let everybody know out there, pay attention to that as we head into the weekend. It could change, but definitely pay attention to that one. But as I mentioned, Steelers game, almost 50% chance of rain as well. Yeah. Let's move on to the wide receiver position. As always, this year, well, I shouldn't say as always. Last year was the running backs seemed to be more dominant on the upper end of consistency. It always used to be wide receivers. And then last year it was a swing, and we're like, oh, okay, here we go. Mm-hmm. It kind of started running backs this way at the beginning, but now we've kind of shifted it. Running backs are falling off. Wide receivers are still kind of holding their own. So a lot of 100s. Chris Olave, believe it or not. But now he has Tyler Shook as a quarterback. So we'll see if this continues. Jackson Smith and Najigba, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, 4 for 4. Rashid Rice, 2 for 2. And look, Christian Watson came back. He played one game and he had a clutch game. So he should be heard probably by mid next week.
Hey, he came back that one game, earned his money. He earned his money.
He earned his $13 million increase.
One game.
Yeah, one game. 86%. George Pickens, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and DK Metcalf. 83% Puka Nacua. CD Lamb, 80%. 75 Michael Pittman, Cortland Sutton, Ted McMillan, and 2 guys that are hurt and aren't going to play the rest of the year, which is Tariq Hill and Mike Evans. So some interesting players, but I think mostly I don't see very few of those players that I am surprised by that's above 70%. Maybe Shakir, but he's the only guy that was going to play. He's the main guy, so not a huge surprise. Quentin Johnston was a surprise, but he's also went 1 out of his last 4, so he's trending and on the upward trend is Ladd McConkey, who started off like 0 for 3 and now has put up, I think, 5 or 6 straight. Where the heck is he? Oh, there he is. Yeah, or as we call him, Ladidi McConkey. Has put up 4 straight after going 1 for 4 in the first 4 games. He's at 63%. So like you said, Quentin Johnston's this way. Ladidi is going up. So definitely, if you held out and you kept the faith, Good for you. But James, your thoughts on the wide receiver positions? Anybody moving, shaking, heading up, heading down that concerns you or excites you?
Yeah, I got a couple of crazy things in wide receivers, like you were saying, all the stuff that's going on. Seeing Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison up there it shouldn't feel strange to me, but knowing the fact that McCarthy started and then they had to bring Wentz in and seeing how bad Wentz has been, that's crazy to see Jefferson and Addison both at a perfect 100% steal. That just shows you, I guess, how narrow that receiving tree really
Yeah, I
was.
was going to say there's nobody else getting the
Yeah.
ball. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, T.J. Hawkinson isn't even hardly getting the ball.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's just throwing to two players, which he should, but it usually doesn't happen that way.
A couple other things, just throw it out there. Obviously, Jamar Chase is starting to skyrocket since Flacco's been playing there. We'll see if that, like you said, you mentioned that earlier, Flacco's questionable this week. So if Flacco doesn't go, we'll see how Jamar Chase goes there. But one of the guys and another under the radar guy for me was Keyshawn Booty, and I mentioned him. Drake May's getting thrown around in MVP conversation. He's got 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on the year. He's running the ball. The New England Patriots are putting up points. Stephon Diggs is looking like Stephon Diggs. He's kind of taking on that possession receiver, but Keyshawn Booty is taking on that explosive role, that deep threat. He's getting 2, 3, 4 of those a game where they're just, trying to do that, and he's succeeding in it. He's got 233 yards, 4 touchdowns, averaging 18.7 points per game over his last 3, which are obviously all clutch games as well. And, with him, he's not going to be that guy who's going to get you 8 to 10 targets. He's not a Justin Jefferson or a Jamar Chase. But in bye weeks and doing things like that, and even at a wide receiver 3 flex type position, you could do a lot worse than a guy who could spot you 20 points. And even if he only catches one of the long balls, he's probably going to get you, 7, 8 points off of just one play,
Right. Yeah. No, it's I wish I had more shares of him. I didn't really jump on him after the week 1, which I think we gave him the week 1 week wonder whenever he hit there in week 7. That's 7? No, week 6. Week 6. But yeah, definitely's been doing well. I guess the one guy I was going to talk about was basically Terry McLaurin. I mean, we waited. I didn't wait. Some people waited, and they got him, and he played one game, and he had a touchdown, and now he's hurt and may not be back for the rest of the year. So I've said this on the Monday show. I think I've said this here a few times. Folks, somebody holds out, please do not draft him. Do not. I don't care how good they are, how good they were, nothing. If they don't practice and they don't get in the swing and they, and it may be working out, but when they're not out there running, twisting, turning, getting tackled, even in preseason, they're not, it's just inevitable that something's going to happen and they're not going to be, they're going to twist something, pull something and miss games. And I don't have the data, but I'm sure somebody does, of how many times this has happened, because very rarely does it not. I think Emmitt Smith's the last time I remember somebody that did that, where they held out the whole thing. You're like, okay. And then he had a monster year. But that's Emmitt Smith.
Yeah.
So, again, please be careful with that scenario for sure. All right, last spot, the tight end position still remains the top clutch factor that's not a quarterback. Now, it's 10.25 versus 10.24 for wide receivers. So it's really close, but they still eked it out. They have the highest clutch factor for the week. 86% Trey McBride, 86% Dallas Goddard, 75% was Jake Ferguson, until he slapped a 0.0 on all of his fantasy owners. Thank you very much, Turd Ferguson. I was like, did he get hurt in the first quarter? Did he die?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, he played the whole game. I'm like, 0.0? How does this happen for him? But you're shaking your head, so you must have had a few shares of him.
Yeah. I fought it all year, and I bought into it towards the last little bit here, where he's been running up, and I acquired him in a couple of leagues, and then week 8 drops a 0 on me. And I kind of feel like, I guess, how you did when you pulled and got Baker Mayfield, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, am I the bad luck guy for Ferguson? Like, what just happened here? So, yeah. And it was
I really expect him to be back, again, this week. Who are they playing? They are playing, Arizona on Monday night? Sunday night? Monday night. So, at Dallas, Cardinals, 27th against tight ends. So, Turd Ferguson will be back and will claim his first name of Jake. But yeah, that was a real killer. Like my FSGA, which I was 7-1, 6-1, tied for first. I lost by 2 points, and Turd Ferguson had 0. He didn't even have to be good. Just get one catch for, or 2 catches for 10 yards, and I'm in.
Yeah. Just give me something. Put something on the board. Give me a number. Yeah.
So anyway, Tyler Warren 75%, Tucker Kraft 71%, but second in total points. The interesting thing, let me go back to Turd Ferguson for a minute. He is still first in total points after scoring 0 last week. Now it's much closer than it was, but he had a substantial lead going into this past week. So, yeah, I found that interesting. Now, of course, Trey McBride was on a bye, so that probably saved him from being passed by him. But anyway, so 71% Tucker Kraft. Darren Waller's already hurt and out for the rest of the year probably. He had his nice little run. George Kittle came back, earned a clutch game. Juwan Johnson, 63%. Kyle Pitts, Jake Tunges, who's not playing much anymore because Kittle is back, 57. And then everybody else below, including the 5th in total points, the 7th in total points, the 8th in total points, and 11th and 12th are all 50% or below. Kelsey, Fannin, Ertz, Gadsden. Now, Gadsden, we'll give a little love to because he has been 3 for 3, mostly as a starter. The other games he was part-timing, so it didn't not as big a deal. But like Hunter Henry, 8th in total points, 3 for 8, 38%. Why? Because he had that 2-touchdown game a number of weeks ago that vaulted him up. Tight ends, as always, are a mess. It's always a guessing game. It's easy to pick 1 week wonders because every week there's somebody that comes out of nowhere. I think this past week was Evan Helm. No, Gunnar Helm.
Yeah,
Gunnar Helm, who I was shocked when I brought this up, and Ron Rigney said, "Oh yeah, he played for Texas last year." Yeah, I was pretty intrigued by him. Thought he was a really good tight end. It was interesting when the Titans took him, even though they have Chiggy. Well, thank you for knowing more than I would ever thought anybody should know who Gunnar Helm was. So Gunnar was our 1 week wonder. He's way down there because that's his first and only clutch game. But yeah, so Gunnar, welcome to the clutch game world. Congratulations. Maybe you'll see if you keep it rolling. But yeah, tight ends are tight ends. Is there anybody in there that you're like, well, I think there's a good chance that it'll head this direction or down? I feel like there's potential for Kelsey now because of Rice. Now teams are not going to focus as much. I mean, this last game, he had a nice game, kind of touchdown, 5 catches, 50 some yards, which is what we want. 5 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown is 16 points. I'll take that every day of the week from any tight end. And Kelsey usually does that. So that's, I think the days of getting 9 catches for 120, it's not going to happen because of Rice and Worthy and all these big guns that can stretch the field. But like this game against Buffalo, I feel like Kelsey probably will have a big game because they'll be so worried about stopping Rashee Rice and the deep threats. But if it's raining, even more reason for Kelsey to see the ball more. So your thoughts on the tight end position without throwing up?
Yeah, and that's a tough one because there's some stuff going on there that I don't want any part of, especially that Jake Ferguson. Because like I told you, where I played him, I didn't just play him. The guys who played against me started Tucker Kraft in one league, Aronde Gadsden in another league.
Oh.
So my zeros looked over at 20 plus points, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man! I'm already in a 20-point hole at tight end, no. But
yeah, that hurts. Yeah, especially
yeah,
when the other tight ends are going off against you.
Yeah, you're looking at the top tight end scoring against your guy who should have been a top tight end, still the number one tight end after this week with the 0. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But you hit on Travis Kelce there, and he's kind of in a bunch of 3 guys right there. I said Aronde Gadsden is another one of them. You hit on him too with 3 for 3. And Harold Fannin Jr. is another one. Each of those guys is 3 of their last 4 games, technically with Gadsden 3 for 3 starting. Each of those guys I think we're probably going to see start going up because exactly what you said, one with Kelce. They've got Rice back. There's a lot less attention on him having to be a possession receiver the way he was. He was the real possession receiver with the speedsters there early on. I think that affected him some. We're starting to see him come out of that shell, kind of get more of that middle of the field where they're paying attention to Rice and they can't cover both of them, So I think you hit the nail on the head there. And Harold Fannin Jr., we've been touting him all year. I've been saying that I liked him. And in games when Njoku doesn't play and do that, and even when he does, he's still capable of putting up clutch games. He's 7th overall in tight end points, and they use him all over the field. He's got multiple carries this year where he's lined up in the backfield, and they've given him a carry. So it's only a matter of time before he breaks a game where he probably scores a rushing touchdown, something like that.
Yeah.
So you stack that on the fact he's getting 7 to 8 targets a week. That's, like you said, that plays 5 for 50 and give me an opportunity at a touchdown. Loving that. And Gadsden, he might be the reason that we're just watching Quentin Johnston disappear because he seems to be the seam stretcher for them that they were using Johnston for that earlier. But Gadsden, let's be honest, it looks like he has better hands and catches everything that's in the vicinity,
I'll call it luck, but I think it was because I reached out to my good friend John Lobb, who just amazing when it comes to college / dynasty, that knowing the college players as they're coming in. And I remember, so I'm in 2 dynasty leagues in the Columbus area. A lot of big names in the industry: Ian Hartis, Chris Allen, Rich Dotson, who runs Dynasty Nerds, Rich Rebar. I mean, this is not just your typical dynasty, right? And I'm not a dynasty guy, right? My idea of dynasty, I trade all my draft picks away to get actual real players. That's how I work. But anyway, so I usually only have my 3rd and 4th round picks because I usually trade my 1st and 2nd for some good veteran, right? So he had told me, I said, well, I go, look, I'm looking for some tight ends because it's a tight end premium. Both of them are tight end premium leagues. And I said, just any tight ends that you can recommend that, pick. And he goes, well, if that Aronde Gadsden kid's available from the Chargers, he goes, grab him. He goes, he's a freak. He goes, I just don't know if he's going to get much playing time because at the time, I forget who they had coming into the season. It was like Will Dissly and those kind of players, that you're just kind of oh, okay, well, they're veterans, right? And so I 3rd or 4th round, I took Aronde Gadsden. And that he's scored in that scoring method, he scored 32 points that one week, and because he scored 20 all by himself or 27 by himself, and then we add in the extra 0.5. Oh yeah, I was just he outscored CeeDee Lamb and all these players on my team.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, way to go, John. So John, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll buy you a drink certainly at the expo, but doesn't happen too often, but sometimes you just, they always say, well, 3rd and 4th round picks in dynasties are worthless because all the good players are gone. But when you have those premium kind of things or 2 quarterbacks, which it is also, sometimes you pick somebody up and, do okay with it. So cool. All right. James, tell everybody where they can find you. You're out, of course, all over Big Guy Fantasy Sports, but tell everybody all about it.
Yeah, check it out, Big Guy Fantasy Sports. Check my Under the Radar article, the game of fantasy points each week. If you're on X, check me out at Jay Keezy. Let's talk some football. Let's talk about some stuff there. follow me and check out all the consistency tools. Check out everything we do, all the stuff we talk about here, all the winning that we do comes from us seeing all this stuff. So yeah, check it out.
Got it. And I'm throwing this out for every podcast we do because you only know about it. If you email me, contact me somehow, I'll give you 50% off rest of the season. Basically makes it like $10 for the rest of the season. Get the clutch information you're going to need as you're heading towards the playoffs. We'll help you get there. So hit me up and I'll give you a coupon code to put in that will get you 50% off. And like James said, everything's out there. The consistency tools, we use every single one of those. So consistency tools give us all these numbers we're giving you, the trends, so who's hot, who's not, who's under the radar. All that comes from those tools. And that's all you're paying for. You get the articles for free. But the tools are what makes the difference. That's what you want access to. Guys, $10, $20. And if you're listening to this, it's $10. Hit me up. I'll get you the code. We'll get you 50% off. Get you a $10 for the rest of the year. What is it? Is that one coffee at Starbucks now? I don't even drink.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, again, for James Knight, I'm Bob Long. Everybody take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.